Alright guys, today we're going to talk about rounding whole numbers and decimals. When I think about rounding, I just think about my simple numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And those are going to guide me. If I have a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, there's a good chance that my number is going to stay the same. If I have a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, my number is going to round up to the next number. If that makes sense to you, great. If not, hopefully it will soon. Let's take the number 34, for example. And I want to round to the tens place because that's what is underlined. What I do is I make sure I locate that tens place, but I have to look at this number next to it because that number truly matters. It's going to tell us if we're going to change my 3 to a 4 or keep my 3 the same. So I come up here and look at my number line, and that's a 4, so I know that my 3 is going to stay the same. So my 3 stays the same, and everything after it turns to a 0. So 34 rounds down to 30. Let's try another one. We have 146, and I want to continue to round to my tens place. So I underline my tens place, and I draw my arrow to the number right next to it. And I look at that 6, and I say, hey 6, what are you going to do to my 4? Well, luckily, we have this line up here that's a reminder, so if I look at my 6 and I follow the arrow, it's going to go up to the next number. My 1 is going to stay the same because I didn't touch anything in the hundreds. But based on my 6, my 4 is going to change to a 5, and my 6 becomes a 0, because everything to the right of the number you're looking at becomes a 0. Alright, I want you to take this number, 1,257. I want you to write it into your notebook, pause this screencast, and I want you to round 1,257 to the nearest 100. Alrighty, so this is your 100 spot. You have to look at the number to the right of it. And when I look at my 5, I know that 5 is going to round up to the next number. So my 2 is going to change. My 1 stays the same. My 2 changes to a 3 because this 5 told me so. And everything to the right. So the 5 and the 7 turn into zeros. So 1,257 rounds to 1,300. Let's do the same thing now, but we're going to use decimals. And look at what place value is underlined, and it's the ones place. So I know that I'm going to look at my 1 to see what my 6 is going to do. Because 1 is so close to 0, my 6 is going to stay the same. So my 4 stays the same. My 6 stays the same. But that little 1 there turns into a 0. So 46 and 1/10 rounds to 46. Now we have 4 and 37 hundredths. And that one is going to round to the tenths. So I have my place value, but I have to look to the number to the right. So based on my number line up here, I know that 7 is going to change my 3 to the next number. So I have 4, I bring my decimal down, and 4, and the 7 turns into a 0. So 4 and 37 hundredths turns into 4 and 40 hundredths, or 4 and 4/10, depending on how you look at it. This is the one that you're going to practice. So in your notebook, write 27 and 19 thousandths, and I want you to round it to the hundredths. Go ahead and pause the screencast and try. Okay, so hundredths is right there. And I'm going to look at the 9 and say, hey 9, what are you going to do to my 1? Well, I know that my 9 is going to make my 1 go up to a 2. So when I write my number, I have 27, that stays the same, my 0 and decimal point, and then my 1 turns into a 2, and my 9 turns into a 0. Hope you got that right. Hope this helped. Listen for further instructions.